everybody. We want to welcome everybody to our first Platica. We have quite a few people still logging in, and I want to make sure that, we are conscious of everyone's time. It's Saturday, and, we want to get going. Um, as usual, we're gonna have a coffee mug contest at the end of the Platica, so make sure you get your lively coffee mugs ready. Oh, there you go, Monica, you got wifey there. Ray done. Um, So I know we're supposed to have a special guest today. Robert Bard with the Latinas CEO of Latina Style Magazine will be joining us this morning. So we look forward to that. Um, I want to introduce our moderators, but before that, I want to thank everybody for joining us as we kick off today. And moderating with me is Sandra Martinez, the Houston chapter chair, and Monica, the Lubbock chapter chair. And Eric Aranguiz, my co-chair for Platicas, for helping me. And I want to thank you all very much. It takes a lot of time and effort to get this going, as we all know, to try to get everybody in touch at the same time and, doing things after hours. But anyway, a few housekeeping before we begin. Just as long as everybody mutes their mics, we want to make sure that we avoid any background noise during our Platica. And secondly, we do have a few people monitoring the chat box, and therefore, please do not hesitate to enter them there. We will pause throughout the chat, throughout the talk, and to answer any questions as time permits. And at this time, I want to switch the floor over to Monica and let her go and introduce our speakers, our panelists.
Hello. How's everybody doing? I would like to introduce Suzanne James. Suzanne James is a life coach who specializes in personal development. She helps her clients overcome personal obstacles, achieve their goals, and maximize their greatest strengths so they can live life with confidence. Suzanne instinctively knows how to encourage and motivate others, and her quick and ready insight into the moods and emotions of individuals amplifies her effectiveness as a trainer and coach. Suzanne draws from over 20 years of corporate, nonprofit, and community experience. Suzanne is dedicated to empowering business owners, individuals, and families, and to helping them realize their limitless potential. We have Dr. Elizabeth Lopez. Dr. Elizabeth Lopez is a proud Latina, first-generation college graduate and leader with 19 years in social services, including 14 years, 14 years in nonprofit and for-profit leadership. She holds a PhD and MS in organizational leadership from Our Lady of the Lake University, focusing on authentic leadership and power dynamics in the nonprofit sector. As a founder of Next Level Mujeres, Dr. Lopez empowers Latinas through personalized coaching, leadership development, and support to overcome challenges. She serves as the Advocacy Committee Chair for the Hispanic Women's Network of Texas, Vice Chair of Programs for HWNT San Antonio, and Board Officer for Northeast Senior Assistants. In addition, Dr. Lopez is an adjunct faculty member at a community college where she fosters academic success. She is passionate about creating inclusive spaces and dedicated to building pathways for future Latina leaders.
Thank you, Monica.
Thank you. You're very welcome.
Yes, go ahead. Okay, I'm sorry. So thank you to our panelists. We have two very, very special people, very knowledgeable and bring a wealth of knowledge to what our topic is today. As we find ourselves 3 months into 2025, as we spoke earlier, it's the perfect moment to prepare for an exciting journey through the rest of the year. We're kicking off this series focusing on breaking new ground, and it's something that we've talked about. How can we better ourselves? How can we maximize what we do with ourselves, and what our capabilities are, and how can we connect, and how we can build connections. Together, we'll delve into innovative strategies, capitalize on emerging trends, and growing our network to elevate our brand to new successes. So in this conversation, let's embark and carve our path forward, seize opportunities, and create a lasting impact. So let's begin. Our panelists, are you all ready?
Yes. Good morning, everyone. Happy to be here.
Good.
Good morning.
So our topic, breaking through the new year, leveraging our brand and connections in 2025. I'll shoot this out to Dr. Lopez first. What does breaking through mean to you in 2025, and what does it mean for us in our personal and professional lives?
Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me in this space this morning. That's the first thing I want to say. And so I think these are really great questions to start off our conversation today. And so for me, breaking through means stepping into your power. It's about moving past your fears, embracing your voice, and claiming the spaces that you deserve. And so, to kind of talk about the second part, I want to share one of my most powerful breakthrough moments that was the founding of Next Level Mujeres. And so, if you know me personally, you know I've gone from being a high school dropout to a teen mom, being on welfare, to becoming the person I am today, Dr. Elizabeth Lopez, owning my own home, launching my own business, and stepping into senior and leadership roles. And so this wasn't, the founding of Next Level Mujeres wasn't just about starting a business. It really was born out of a pivotal professional challenge. I want to take you back a couple of years when I was a VP for a nonprofit. I intentionally stepped into that role as a pathway to the C-suite level. And so when I had the opportunity and the CEO position opened up, I approached my board to talk about the opportunity of stepping into that role. However, we talked and I was met with unexpected feedback from them. It took me aback because they told me I really didn't have all the qualifications they were looking for in a CEO. And despite my extensive experience and knowledge in the field for 15 years, my leadership of 10 years, and everything else that I brought to the table, I still didn't have two aspects that they were looking for. And that was fundraising and strategic partnerships. What they meant by that is I wasn't well known in the community and they didn't know how I was going to be able to build those partnerships that they wanted the CEO to bring. Well, that led me, yes, I was definitely disappointed in that feedback, but I didn't see it as discouragement. I actually took that and saw it as this is not a setback. This is a challenge for me. This is an opportunity to grow and this is an opportunity to break through. And I did exactly that. So over the next year, I did everything in my power to build those two missing skills that I needed. And so what I did was I joined the Association of Fundraising Professionals, and I actually applied and won a diverse community scholarship to attend the largest fundraising conference in the world. And that was held last year in Canada in 2024. And it was, they flipped the whole bill. So if anybody's been to this conference, they know that that conference alone, the registration fee is thousands of dollars. And so I went and I started building a network, but I didn't stop there. I kept going to free seminars. I kept connecting. I connected with their Latino affinity group. And, at the end of the year, and it's almost to that year, not only did I strengthen my knowledge and my strategic partnership and build that network that I needed, but that same year I submitted a proposal to their next largest conference, which is the AFP lead. And it happens every year in 2024. And I was accepted to speak at that conference. I didn't know at the time until I talked to other professionals that it's very hard to get into that conference. And here I was, somebody who had no experience in development, getting accepted not the second time but the very first time I applied. And so this was my breakthrough moment. It was not no longer about, oh, I was having to prove that I wanted to be a CEO. It was about deciding that if I was going to lead at that highest level, that this was going to be on my own terms and it was going to be for my very own business. And here I am today with the launch of Next Level Mujeres. So for me, breaking through isn't always about getting that title or that position. It's about redefining success on your own terms and using every challenge as a stepping stone to that next level.
That's
Susan, I
excellent.
turn it over to you.
Yes, go ahead, Susan.
Yes, thank you again this morning for allowing me to be here in this community. I'm so excited, and I love everything that Elizabeth just shared with us. So, what does breaking through mean to me, right? Breaking through for me really means overcoming an obstacle or a barrier. And Elizabeth gave us a lot of examples of how she did that, right? In the things that she faced. And so I'm a very visual person. So when I think of breaking through, I think of a seed. And I think of what it must go through to break through the soil to either become a plant or to become a tree. And I'm a very visual person, so I brought you guys a little plant so you could see. Um, you know, so if you metaphorically, translate that to us as a person, as a human being, as a woman, right? As Latinas, what are the things that we personally and professionally, have to break through? For us as Latinas, we must push through and even push past, right? Um, the resistance we encounter to achieve our goals and our success personally and professionally. Um, I will say that most recently, the fact that I'm even like asked to be talking about this is very, very good timing because as we all are striving towards personal goals, um, I put my name in a hat just this year at the company that I work for. So there's two things that I do. I'm a life coach, and I also work at a large home care. I'm in the healthcare field. So I work for a large company here that covers about 17 states. And in this market, I'm in Dallas. I live in Frisco, and I am an area sales manager for the North Texas region. And so there we have a position that came available in December. I was on PTO. I took 2 weeks off in December. And my regional vice president calls me and tells me, hey, before you come back on Monday, I need to let you know what happened. We just let go so and so. So I'm like, oh my goodness, this is the seventh leader that I've had in that position that has been, let go. So I come to work on Monday. We have like, our team powwow, and then I go into this mindset. Okay, is this the position that I need to go for next? Um, I applied for the position. Okay, I put my name in the hat. I went into the interview, went through the first one, made it through the first interview, made it through the second interview, and I did not make it to the last interview. So they made an offer to somebody else. That was a hard pill to swallow. I also got feedback like Elizabeth just shared. I got feedback as well. Um, Now, one thing I want to share with everybody is really being intentional with knowing your assignments for the season that you're in. Sometimes things don't work out as maybe you thought they were going to because it might not be the right time, and that's okay. So I, as well as Elizabeth, did not take it. There were like probably 3 days that I was in my ego and I was in my pride. Let's just be transparent, right? We have feelings, but it's okay. Like, don't let those feelings overcome you, right? Don't let those feelings, don't make another decision on emotion. So I processed it. And then when I talked to also as a coach, as a leader, I have someone that speaks into my life, right? Someone that I go to as a mentor. When I shared the experience, shared my feedback, I loved what she gave to me. She said, this, we talk about, purpose and calling. We talk about assignments. Have you thought this is not your assignment for this season and that you are to be used somewhere else where you can be optimized? This position could actually hinder your full potential. And that just, really was helpful for me. And that's what I want to share with you all today. That sometimes it may not, be the exact thing in the moment, but keep pushing on. Keep pushing through and going past the resistance that you feel today because you will get to where you're supposed to be and you have a community that supports you. Two things I want to point out. The personal and professional spokes of are just really two core areas of life, and they both feed off of one another. So each of them can be measured in your own personal wheel of life. So some of the other spokes in the wheel of life are your physical spoke, your financial, your mental, your family, spiritual, personal, and professional, which is your career. So all of those really impact one another. And it's a matter of us really finding, some days you might be balanced, another month you might feel off balance, and that's okay. Give yourself grace. So there you go.
Thank you, Suzanne. I like. I think my key takeaways for that is from Dr. Lopez is kind of just take the leap and just do it. Like whatever you feel, whatever and I like the perspective that you brought, Suzanne, is that it may not be the season, it may not be the time. Sometimes as women, we try to rush into things because that's our nature. We're just going to rush into things because we got to get it done. We have a schedule to meet, and we just got to do it. We got deadlines, right? But in thinking about those things and thinking about what you're saying, I'm wondering, as Latinas, we often face adversity.
Yes.
I know you pointed out some, but what other key barriers do you think that we face as women? What stops us? What is it? In other words, like what is that unspoken barrier that we talk about? Like, it's not only that we're women. It's not only that some of us are younger, some of us are older. Like what other barriers do we face to really come out and have that breakthrough as we talk about?
I can start with that one. I think that sometimes there is a cultural mindset. Culturally, like what have we been taught? And that comes from our family, our previous generations, and um, it really takes you as a person to continue on with some of our cultural, rituals and things of that nature that are really important to us that make us who we are at our core. But there are some mindsets that could be attached that are limiting. So that I think as a woman, just in general, right? There have been times that we are not supposed to be in a certain position, or yeah. So I'll just say that, general gender stereotypes and just prejudices that are still there today. And so really, um, these are there are many double standards that we face as women, but that does not diminish who you are. And so I think it's really important to know who you are and believe in yourself. I'm so big on empowering women and believing in yourself and building your confidence because I think in society today, there's so many things that are against us that we go through things that can dwindle our confidence. And so, my personal website is all about live life with confidence and how do we do that?
Perfect. Dr. Lopez?
Yes, thank you for sharing that, Susan. That's great. I actually, was going to talk about some of that, but you talked about it, so I'll go on to another barrier that I, would like to talk about in this space. So, from my perspective, there are several key barriers that we face, and as Susan talked about, they often overlapped with the intersection of gender and culture. And one of these is lack of representation. And what I mean by that is we don't often see Latinas in leadership roles or in spaces that we aspire to enter. So this can feel kind of like those paths aren't really meant for us. And so this lack of visibility can create, self-doubt within us, and it can make it harder to envision ourselves breaking through in those roles. And just to give you some examples, I want to share a couple of statistics with you. So, only 3.3% of Latinas hold managerial positions. 2% hold senior leadership roles. 1.5% hold VP or senior VP roles, while 2% hold C-suite roles. Now, to add to that, only 3% of Latinas have mentors, and only 4% have access to executive coaching and professional development. And for the last one I want to share is only two, that's not 2%, only two Latinas as of 2024 have held roles of CEOs of Fortune 500 companies. That is a wow factor.
Wow.
And that is the whole reason I started Next Level Mujeres to kind of launch something that will close this gap. Now, I can't get to every Latina, but if I can do a small part to make sure that we're not an elite group, if you're in one of these positions, you are in an elite group, just like having a PhD. And so, another one I would like to kind of touch upon, and I believe Susan already touched upon this. As women, we often are expected to either be nurturers and to be collaborators. But as leaders, we're told that we have to be assertive and we have to be confident. For Latinas, this balance becomes even trickier when we get to these levels because if we're too bold, then we risk become being looked at as too aggressive. And I've been there before. And but if we're not too re- if but if we're too reserved, in other words, then we're seen as having those lack of leadership skills and that potential. So there are several other barriers, and I would love to carry on the conversation, but it really is a deeper conversation, and that's for another space. So I'll just leave it right there for right now.
Thank you, Liz. We do have some comments in the chat that are really, I think, really interesting. Pat Levis, one of our chapter chairs, so she talked about constructive criticism, and I think that that goes hand in hand with like the statistics, right, and all of the barriers. She says constructive criticism, it's always valuable feedback to have. Sometimes people may not be able to accept it, but it's not meant to harm you as a person. Rather, it's intended to help you grow. So just as you did, Dr. Lopez, kudos to you and Miss James. And then she mentioned about mindset. So mindset definitely plays a critical role in the type of industry that you work in. So in the industry that she's in, it's been traditionally considered a man's world, and that's in a lot of industries, right? So over the years that have as women have undoubtedly been making significant strides in growing in those industries, that I think we need to be comfortable putting ourselves out there, right? And accepting that feedback, accepting that criticism, that don't take it personal. Like don't fall into that trap of like, oh yeah, well, she's just emotional. She's just this. It's like be professional and don't take things personally, and just be effective.
Yes, I agree with that. And so definitely want to look at and shift over to another part of our purpose today, which is defining our brand. So, what is our personal brand and how do we define that? And how do we align this with our unique strengths and authentic selves? So, I'll go ahead and let Dr. Lopez go ahead and start us with this.
This is a great question. And I'll tackle more of a professional brand versus the personal brand because I would like to leave that for Suzanne, who is, the a life coach. But looking at professional brand, I just want to reiterate here that professional brand is more than just your title or your position. It really is about the story that people tell about you when you're not in the room. So that means, how you show up every day, how you treat others, and the impact that you're leaving behind. So for me, my brand didn't start with a clear mission. Trust me, it was far from it. It evolved over time, though, and I would tell you that when I first started in with LinkedIn, if everybody's on LinkedIn, you know that that's the professional platform. And I started that like I think in 2015 or 2016, I can't even remember, but I was literally invisible on that platform. I really didn't even know if it was for me at the time. But I started, looking at it and started, thinking about brand. And so I started liking posts from afar because at that time I just really was unsure of what my voice truly was or what I wanted to share. But as I stepped into leadership roles, and specifically when I started pursuing my graduate studies, my master's and my PhD, I realized that I was going to have to define my brand because if I didn't, then someone else was going to define it for me. And that just is unacceptable. And so I began by sharing my PhD journey. So I shared it on three platforms: Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And so I had to kind of clean up my Facebook and Instagram a bit. But I did that. And then I started talking about the journey of the PhD program. And I hashtagged everything with PhD life, PhD journey, PhD in the making, PhD loading. And so I talked about my wins because we really need to celebrate our wins, whether they're big or whether they're small. And so I started talking about, oh, I had a 4.0 semester, or oh, I passed a oral comp or a written comp. But I didn't only celebrate the wins, I also talked about the challenges of being a Latina that came with that. You know, working as a VP and working 40 hours, or I wish 40, probably 50 to 60 hours a week, and then coming home to cook and to clean, and then to have to stay up till 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning studying because I had to be in classes on Saturday, and having, have really a 6-day work week for 4 years, what those challenges and barriers were. But I also talked about my support system, the village that I walked alongside, the six pack, and how they helped me be accountable and how we celebrated each other's wins. So I wasn't really just building a brand around getting a degree. I was building the brand rooted in leadership and advocacy for Latinas and higher education. But a year before I was going to actually in that journey and walk the stage, I realized my brand was going to have to evolve a little bit. And so when we evolve our brands, we leave our core values there and we just grow a little. So our brand shifts a little. So it no longer became about all my successes, but rather it became my mission to empower Latinas. And so today I will say that my brand is everything I do, from the work with Next Level Mujeres to the leadership with HWNT to going out to events like the Latina Voices Institute last week. It's all about empowering Latinas. And when I show up, whether it's in the workspace, whether it's out in the community, I'm talking about empowering Latinas. Susan, I'll
Thank you
hand it
so
over.
much. Absolutely, Suzanne, if you can go ahead and also share your thoughts.
Yes, thank you. So our personal brand, like personally, right, in your personal development, what does that look like? Really, I said this a few minutes ago, just about really knowing who you are. So I know that kind of sounds like, okay, well, I know who I am. I'm Suzanne. I'm Suzanne Garcia James, right? But getting deeper than that, it's beyond my name. It's beyond your name. It's knowing what are your, like, what sets you apart from your competition. So as Elizabeth was saying with her professional, development, she did have to also think about her personality, right? Like her special gifts. So every lady here has special gifts that you have been given. You were designed a certain way. You were created to do something, right? So knowing what your personal gifts are, your strengths, is really important because it ties in with your personal brand. Um, it's something that is going to make you stand out. You're going to be separated from your competition. One thing that, helps us do that is really aligning your personal brand by first identifying what your core strengths are or your core values. So, does anybody, just you can raise your hand, does anybody have a list of core values that you use on a day-to-day basis to make decisions? Oh, good. Erica does. Erica Lopez, I saw your hand go up. That's good. If you're not doing that right now, that's okay. Like this is why we're having this Platica Poderosas, right? We are wanting to hone in on who you are as a person. Like what I was designed to do, um, no one else can do it. What you are designed to do, no one else can do it because there's no other person like you. You have a unique fingerprint. And so finding your core values, I'll name just a few things that can be a core value. Um, here's a list, and what kind of culture do you want to create, right? So some things could be a core value as accomplishment, adventure, ambition, balance, boldness, clarity, cleverness, compassion, confidence, courage, creativity, fun, focus, fashion, joy, ethics, encouragement, professionalism, passion, happiness. For me, um, my list of core values is something that I keep really close to me. I've even gone to I suggest, even having that list and having them near you to where when you're having to make a decision, whether you want to take on an opportunity or someone comes with you to you and they ask you to be a part of an organization. Well, does this organization align with your personal core values? Or is there going to be something that you might have to compromise? Those are really important things to ask yourself, because we find that if you're compromising who you are, you're not really being your authentic self. And we want to be true to who we are. That is going to help you to walk into a room. You're going to walk into a room knowing who you are, and no one else, whatever anybody else tells you, we will take it, we'll receive it, but you also know what is not meant for you. And that is power. That is what Elizabeth was talking about, is walking into your power, right? So some of my core values, just to share, is my first one is confidence. Okay, live life confidence by knowing who I am. My second one is a spirit of excellence. So whatever I do is I want to focus on a spirit of excellence versus a spirit of perfection. Because when I focus on perfection, then I am focused on really something that's unattainable. And it's really performance based versus like a growth mindset. Faith is my third core value. Okay, so my faith will strengthen my spirit, it strengthens my soul, and it strengthens my body, because those three, that is how we are designed. When you have a spirit, you have a soul, and you have a body. And I believe in taking care of all of those. My fourth one is encouragement. I am an encourager. I will motivate you and inspire the team. Let's go. Let's get this goal done. And we're going to do it together, and we're going to do it strong. And who has the better strength? Because I don't have it all. So I'm going to find out the strength that you have to help build us to the team that we need to be. So I love planting seeds of hope and encouragement. Okay. My fifth one is words of wisdom. There was a time in my life where I did not feel good about sharing, what I had inside of me. I went through a journey of a lot of pain and sadness. Um, I went through a divorce in my life, right? And that was a very pivotal time for me. Um, I became a single mom, and that was really challenging for me. So I had to put some things aside during this time in my life. And now my children are 26 and 17, and I'm in a place to where now, yes, I focused on building a family and putting my words of wisdom into them to help them become strong women, strong young ladies. And now, like, I'm looking for opportunities to impact a larger area versus just my home. So sometimes those assignments, will switch for you. You might be focused more on a home life, and that's okay, because that's your current assignment. And then you will see that, because you know your personal brand and you know your core values, you know that it's time to like work on leadership, right? How do we build others up? You first build your team inside your home, and then you build from there to the outside. So that's just a little bit about personal branding, really knowing who you are, finding out, putting what you've been given, putting it into a system, know who you are, know what you offer, and putting it into a system. And if you don't have a system, let us know. We want to help you. Um, you probably already have a system. Usually when I work with clients, you already have a system. You're just needing to tweak something to sharpen it. Um, Yeah, and we have lots of assessments and profiles, personality assessments that you can take. That's a little bit about that.
Thank you, Suzanne. I think it puts everything into perspective. I think we have a lot of strong women on the chat, a lot of strong women on the call, and it's I feel like we do a lot of these things already, but we don't know how to put names to them. Like we might
Mhm.
think about our core values every day, daily, but we never really said that those are our core values. So I think finding people like you and Dr. Lopez to kind of, help us shape those ideas and those thoughts, really put our, ideas into perspective so that we can move forward and, try to be part of those, like Dr. Lopez said, those statistics, the 2%, 1.5%. How awesome would it be for all of us just to keep pushing the envelope and pushing that needle forward to be part of that percentage. And and it all stemmed from what we talked about here. Moving forward, I think you touched on, how do we tell people about our brand? Dr. Lopez mentioned LinkedIn and Facebook. Social media really drives everything. So what
Mhm.
better way to use those avenues? But so now we identified our brand. We identified, you know, we've been strategic on how we're going to get over these barriers. After all of this is identified, um, we defined the brand again, like I said, and figured out how to showcase it. Found my strengths. What are some actionable steps that I can take now, that we can take right now to move forward? I know we're running low on time, so I wanted to skip over to this so that we have sort of a roundabout conclusion, like how do we move forward? What's the next step from here? If I say right now, I'm gonna do this, what are some actionable steps? And we'll do Dr. Lopez first.
Okay, great. So I think we've come full circle with this conversation because we started out talking about breakthrough. And so that is one actionable step that we should be taking. We should be defining a breakthrough goal and then what we want to do, what we want to accomplish in 2025, and write that goal down and then look at the steps that it's going to take to get us there. But I think the most important thing is that we hold ourselves accountable to that. Because I said, again, it has to be an intentional action. So it could be anything from something small to like just going into LinkedIn and updating your profile or being more visible on the platform or something more uh a larger goal where you step out of your comfort zone because we all understand that if we're not outside of our comfort zone, then we're not going to grow. And that's what we want to do. And so apply for that role. It doesn't matter, even if you don't get it, at least you get some feedback that's going to lead you to the next opportunity to take, whether that's, a side project or starting your own business or even volunteering for a leadership position. You know, it just takes that one small move to create momentum.
I
Suzanne?
love that. I love that, Dr. Lopez. I agree with everything that you shared with us. I would also add is, using SMART goals. Okay, we're talking about how to break through in 2025. And so goals really are about just growth. It's how am I going to, get out of my comfort zone? And so a couple of things with SMART, SMART. It's an acronym, right? So you want to be specific, not too general. It has to be specific. So in the next 40 days, I'll give y'all an assignment. In the next 40 days, what would you like to accomplish? Is it, I don't know, someone put something in the chat, so we can use it as an example. But uh, let's say it's to lose 10 pounds in the next 90 days. Okay. So then you need something to measure that, right? Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to get on that ugly scale, whatever, or you're going to use a tape and you're going to measure, your take your body measurements and you're going to get on that digital scale and you're going to mark it and you're going to take pictures, okay? And then you want to have action. So the S is for be specific with your goal. The M is going to be take measurable, like what are you using to measure? Let's say you want to grow your sales team and you need to be at 100% to budget. You guys only made, 80%. What are you going to do to close that gap to get your 20% revenue? So, measures, use measures. What's your data? What's your outcome? Actionable items, Miss Lopez talked about that being, what are your action items? So things could be like to lose the weight, I've got to decide how much protein does my body need? How much carbohydrates can I actually consume? How much water should I be drinking for my body weight? I'm a health and wellness person too. That's my background. Exercise and physiology is my background with psychology. That's my degree. I have a bachelor's of science. And so talking about exercise, what type of exercise do I need for my body type? All of us women have different body types, and our hormones, my gosh, they impact us and our energy and our mood. Whether we like people today, whether we don't like people, you know. So finding those action steps, you really want to give yourself, if you're giving yourself a 40-day goal, you want to work backwards and say, okay, this week, days 1 through 7, what are my 2 to 3 action items that I can take and accomplish? And then once you get those done, then the next, days 8 through 14, what are the next 3 actionable items? And then you keep working every week to get your 40-day goal done. Be realistic. Make those realistic. If you know that going out to eat is going to be a temptation, then we're going to start to cook meals at home. Or you're going to meal prep. If I meal prep, then I can just pick what I got out of the refrigerator and then I'm good. And if I keep all the unhealthy snacks in my pantry, then I'm going to go get the ice cream cake that I have downstairs right now in the freezer. So I got to get rid of the temptation. So be realistic with where you are and then have a timetable. Have a date. Commit yourself to a date. So put a date on it. You can also do a SWOT analysis. I wanted to give y'all guys that just as a recommendation. A SWOT analysis is something that looks like, okay, what are my strengths with this? What are my weaknesses? Where is my opportunity for growth? And what is a threat? What could actually hold me back from continuing to move forward? So ask those questions. Um, and then, have a goal setting process. Typically, you're going to need 5 to 7 steps to accomplish your goal.
Hi, thank you so much. So as we wrap things up, I think it's valuable to ask these two professional individuals who have impacted our Latina community in various ways. If you could give one piece of advice for Latinas looking to level up, what exactly would that be? And I did also want to touch on, there was a question in the chat where trying to identify, this is by Delia Davila, trying to identify your own brand when others have already branded you is difficult. So I don't know if there's a way that you're able to kind of highlight those two in your wrap up. I'd love to see that. So we can go ahead and get your thoughts on that, please.
Okay, I guess I'll go first on that one then. So if I were to give you any advice about leveling up this year, it's going to be this, and I think it goes back to where I started on this. Own your own story. Don't wait for someone to validate your worth or open doors for you. Create your own success. Because we have to understand that our journeys, our voices, and our presence, they're a powerful thing. And so take up space boldly. And to go back to the question, owning your story, somebody else may have a brand, but your own experience is your experience. So even if you have the same brand, your experiences are going to be different. You're going to be able to talk about things. For me, it's just like if someone were to come in and say, okay, I'm also doing um, personalized coaching for Latinas and empowering, first of all, I'm going to support them in that because you saw those numbers, you saw those statistics. I can't do it all. So I would welcome anybody else and I would support them in doing this because the more Latinas we have in those top spaces, the more we're going to represent. And that and representation, as we know today, really does matter.
Suzanne, would you like to also answer that, please?
Yeah, so a piece of advice to us to level up this year, be true to yourself. Oh my gosh, be true to who you are. There's only one you. There's only one you, and God made you for a purpose, and with a calling and with specific assignments. Tap into your power by knowing who you are and knowing what you offer. And you can level up with everything you have inside of you. So my advice is just really tapping into that inner voice that you have inside of you, and don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone. That is where you're going to have the growth. That's where you're going to reach the things that you're dreaming about. We all have had a picture in our minds about what our life what we want it to look like. And so don't let go of your dream. Don't stop dreaming. Don't stop believing in who you are and what you're called to do, because your voice matters. Um, you have a specific person that you can impact, everyone here. And so that is my encouragement, is for you to tap into that and not be afraid of speaking up, right? Because we are the trailblazers. You are the trailblazers. Like, you can create a new path that's never been walked, never been paved. You could be the one, you can be the one to do that. So that's my encouragement, is just believing in yourself, knowing that where you are mentally, your body will follow. So I could go on and on about that because that's what I'm passionate about.
Thank you both. I think those are very good pieces of advice for our Latinas on the call, and we could use it to move forward and tell the world what our goals are. And looking at the chat, there's a lot of good comments, a lot of good, a lot of engagement, which we enjoy thoroughly. So I want to thank everybody for that. Monica, do you have anything else? Does anybody else, before I wrap things up, 'cause I believe this is a good endpoint for our Platica. I think, we've gotten a lot of information, um, just to identify who we are and what we bring to the rest of the world, and, what we can do to move forward. Eric,
Absolutely. I'd like to, let Erica give us a moment and a couple of.
go ahead.
Welcome, Erica.
Good morning. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Erica Lopez. There are many Erica Lopez's on the screen tonight this morning through our Zoom account. But I am Erica Lopez, the state chair of the Hispanic Women's Network of Texas, and it is an honor to serve as your state chair. And I thank you for joining us today for our first Platica of 2025. The turnout has been tremendous. The conversation was so inspiring. So I thank you guys for joining us today. I apologize, I was late. I flew in from Dallas. I was attending a Dallas chapter event last night, and I am extremely proud of all our chapters across Texas. If you are not a current member, if you're not sure your membership is current, please log on to our membership portal and verify your membership. We'd love for you to join our organization and join our sister chapters across the state. This is the first of our Platicas. We will be having our second Platica session in June, and then our final one will be in November. Each chapter is so unique and offers such diverse programming, so I highly encourage you to join our strong network of women. I'd especially like to thank some special guests that joined us today from Latina Style Magazine, who we hope to start collaborating with very, very soon. So thank you all so much. There is still a coffee mug contest that's going to take place, but I will hand that over to Erica Moreno. There's at least 3 different Ericas on this call. But thank you all again for being here, and I wish you all a wonderful and safe weekend.
Thank you, Erica. Before we get into that, if anybody wants to turn on their cameras, I can get a screenshot of all of our attendees today. We really thank you for being here. We know that these are recharging for us, and so it's important for us that we allow and create these spaces for women. So if you want to be part of the celebratory screenshot, you can turn your camera on. I'm going to go screen to screen. So right now I'm on the first screen, and then and I don't know, you don't know which screen you're on, so just smile. All right, 1, 2, 3. All right, let me get this next screen. All right, beautiful ladies. 1, 2, 3. All right, awesome. Thank you.
So, well, we've had a great turnout in our last Platicas. We have great panelists. This is actually one of the first times where a lot of people have requested the information, our panelist information. So I wanted to see how we could make sure that our members have that information. So how could we get that to them? Just send a mass email. We'll figure it out to make
Marketing
sure that
team
you
will
have.
send a follow-up email.
Yeah,
Yeah.
perfect. Thank you, because it's going on in the chat, and I think this is a good opportunity to connect, and I appreciate everybody's comments again. I think it's very powerful. So we have Suzanne James and Dr. Elizabeth Lopez. We will distribute their information so that everybody can have an opportunity to maybe engage with them and increase everything that you want to do with what we're trying to do here. So any other questions, comments? Again, thank you everybody, and I think now we will do our mug. And Monica, you can choose. So everybody will put their mugs in the screen, and then
Oh, let's
Monica
look.
will.
Let's see.
Oh,
Oh, I like the Poderosa. Francesca, I can't see yours very well. Oh, there's Mickey. Make sure. Oh, I think Amy's gonna have it. I think that's the one I'm liking. Let me look. What is mother? What does that say?
unicorns.
Mother of unicorns. I love that. All right, so I am going to be drum roll. The winner I'm gonna say is Amy Gomez. I really like that one. Yes.
Congratulations, Emmy. I just put my email address in the chat, my state chair email. If you can email me your name, I'll have your email address, and then I will be sending you a Starbucks gift card for you to enjoy this weekend.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody. Again, we will distribute information in the follow-up email so that everybody can have the opportunity to have everyone's information. Thank you again for spending your Saturday with us. I very well appreciate you all and everybody that worked on this Platica as well. Thank you.
And just so everybody knows, our Platicas are located on our YouTube channel. So if you go onto our website at the very top right-hand corner, there's a link to our YouTube channel. So if you're interested in hearing any of our previous conversations, please go ahead and take some time. They're all so valuable. And we will also be uploading this conversation into our YouTube channel. So thank you all so much. Have a wonderful weekend.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.